Yes, you don't fit in, and yes, you feel like an outsider many times, and I know just how painful that can be. But I'm also here to tell you that there's a deep reason why you don't fit in, and once you know it, your days of feeling sad or depressed will be over. In this video, I'm going to help you understand why you don't fit in, why it's so painful, and most importantly, what you can do to change this. Coming up, hello, beautiful soul. This is Christina Lopes, the Heart Alchemist, here to help you open your heart, heal your past, and live with purpose. If you're new to my videos, click on that subscribe button and also on the bell so you're notified as soon as I publish new content. Now, I know just how painful it can be to not fit in or feel like you're an outsider. Humans are biologically wired for connection, and it can be so painful when we don't fit in, especially early on in our lives when we're young, especially as children or teenagers. But that sadness of not fitting in, that's going to end today once you finish watching this video. I've divided this video in 3 parts. In part 1, we're going to go over the real reason why you don't fit in, and this reason may surprise you. In part 2, I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why it's so painful when we don't fit in. There are 3 reasons. And then in part 3, I'm going to share 5 practical and actionable tips on what you can do when you don't fit in. There are things that you can do, and I'm going to share that in part number 3. Once you finish watching this video, I want to know in the comments below what has been the hardest part for you about not fitting in. Let me know in the comments below when you finish watching this video. Okay, so on to part number 1, and that is why you don't fit in. Okay, so here's the surprising and very spiritual reason why you don't fit in. And that is that you're likely a light worker. Now, if this is the first time that you hear the term light worker, you're going to have some a video here popping up about what a light worker is and the light worker mission. So check that video out for more information. But basically, you are more likely than not a light worker if you have this issue of not fitting in. And what a light worker does, as the name sort of implies, what a light worker does is a light worker is imbued, encoded with light codes that are supposed to come down here and change things up. Okay, so a light worker is encoded with light codes to change things. You're here to change templates, beliefs, societal norms, all kinds of different things. You're here as a major disruptor, actually. All right? And if you're a light worker, more likely than not, this is the reason you don't feel like you fit in. Another way of saying this is that you are encoded to change minds and hearts. That's another way of saying it, and I really like it. So you are biologically, energetically encoded to help change minds and hearts down here on the planet. That's why you don't fit in. And that's why you feel like an outsider. But I want to go a little deeper into this so you can see more on a spiritual level and on an energy level, because I'm constantly really talking about energy. I want you to see on an energy level what this looks like. So here's a picture here of how the majority of people on the planet live, all right? Non-light workers. So what's happening is that you've got all these billions of people here, and all these billions of people are billions of little twinkling stars. They're all living in this box. And the box is called status quo, all right? Status quo, old templates, old beliefs, things that have been passed on from generation to generation to generation. And so the majority of people live in this box without even realizing that they're living in a box, because these things have been programmed unconsciously, really. So we just keep perpetuating old habits. Old habits die hard, okay? So that's how the majority of people live in this box here that's called status quo. And then check this out. Here are you. So you are completely outside of the box. Now, the issue here is then, this is why, so many times it's so painful, is that being out here can be a little lonely. But you're encoded to be out here. You're supposed to be out of the box, because what you are trying to do, your mission really, is to help bring people from in the box out of the box. You're helping people break free of this status quo box or this status quo templates. And you're doing that by standing alone in your own truth and in your own power, and eventually being the example, the shining example for others to follow and for others to come out of the status quo box. So isn't this so cool, right? That you are this beautiful light worker that's helping people come out of old templates, old belief systems, old everything. You're helping people come out of that sort of sleepiness of being programmed with really old templates. You're helping them all come out of that. And so on some sense, it is true that you don't fit in, but I wanna take this a little further, because it's not actually completely true that you don't fit in. What is true is that you don't fit in this box. You don't fit in the old box, the status quo box, but you do fit in somewhere else. And where do you fit in? Well, you'll start noticing that the more that you stand on your own 2 feet and you're not afraid of not fitting in, the more you'll notice that as people get out of the status quo box, they come and join you. You'll be joined by other light workers. You'll be joined by your soul tribe. So you do belong and you do fit in somewhere. It's just not in the places that you've been trying to fit into up until now, because you're not supposed to fit into these old templates. You see, isn't this beautiful? Now to part number 2, and that is why it hurts to not fit in. There are 3 main reasons, there are more, but 3 main reasons that I wanted to leave with you, because it'll be important in you understanding why the being an outsider is so painful. There are 3 main reasons. The first reason why it hurts to not fit in is because you're insecure, all right? So that's why it's usually a lot harder for us with the whole not fitting in thing. It's a lot harder for light workers early on in their life when they're more insecure, especially during their teenage, adolescent, and teenage years. This could be really painful. And so the more insecure you are, the less you know your value and your self-worth, the more that you've been raised in an environment where your self-worth and your value wasn't really kind of shown to you, or where you didn't have a supportive family, or maybe you didn't have a network that constantly reinforced how loved you were, how safe you were. This can create a personality that's a bit insecure. And the more insecure you are, the less self-confident you are, then the easier it is for you to feel pain when you don't fit in. Because if I'm insecure, if I'm not self-confident, and I'm sort of standing out here and everybody else is over there, that could be really painful, because that sort of is showing me that I'm not worthy or that I'm not good enough, all right? So the insecurity is a problem for people who are encoded to come change all these templates, all right? So that's the first reason, is that you may be insecure or lack self-confidence. The second reason is that you are disconnected from source energy or disconnected from God. So something in your life has, or many things really, many events have caused an inner disconnection between you and source energy. And if I'm disconnected from source energy, if I don't know that I'm loved by the creator of all, then it's very easy for me to feel pain when I feel kind of left out, or when I feel like I don't belong. Because if I'm connected to source energy, if source energy's love is streaming through me kind of without any barriers, I would never have a problem not fitting in. I would just be standing on my own and I'd be happy as a clam because I knew that source energy was streaming through me and I could feel it. So that's the second reason, is that for one reason or another, I feel disconnected from source energy, and the more disconnected I feel from source energy, the more pain I will feel when I don't fit in. The third reason for it being painful when I don't fit in is that I'm extremely sensitive, okay? So you may be extremely sensitive, or what's known as an empath. If you don't know much about empaths, or haven't really gotten into the topic of highly sensitive people and empaths, here's a whole playlist. It's gonna pop up right here. There's a whole playlist I have on empaths. Go and watch that if you feel like you're sensitive and you wanna get into that topic more deeply. But being extremely sensitive when I'm a light worker standing kind of on the outside here, if I'm extremely sensitive, then the whole not fitting in is going to be even more painful. Because I'm so sensitive, I can feel so deeply. The whole standing out here while everybody else is over there, that's going to be very, very painful to me. So highly sensitive people usually have more problems with this whole not fitting in thing, especially early on, when they really, they desire desire that connection from peers and friends and family. And if they're not getting it and they're sensitive, this could cause a whole level of pain that non-empaths wouldn't have. Okay, now part 3 and most important part of the video, and that is what to do when you don't fit in. Okay, so you already know that, you don't fit in. You're probably a light worker. You come in coded to not fit in. So now what do you do with that? What do you do when you're an outsider or when you feel like you don't fit in anywhere? I'm going to leave you here 5 practical tips that are going to help you really start transitioning from that level of pain or loneliness that you may feel to a level of abundance and just peace and joy within you. The first practical tip is literally just understand and accept. Okay, so what does it mean to understand and accept? Well, understanding is exactly what you've been doing by watching this video. So that now that you know the real reason why you don't fit in, once we know something, once something has meaning to us, then it shifts our internal reality. So you're already there with the whole understanding part. And then the acceptance piece means that you internalize and you understand that you are encoded not to fit in. So you don't have to keep pushing yourself to fit in that status quo box, because it's never going to work. That would be like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It'll never happen, no matter what you try. So the acceptance piece is important because it means you stand in your power. You can do this in front of the mirror. You can stand in your power and you can say, wow, I've been encoded not to fit in because I'm supposed to help others break out of those boxes, of those old boxes. I accept this. You see, once you say, I accept this about me, I accept that this is part of my mission, I accept that this is part of who I am, doesn't that feel lighter? Because suddenly you're gonna stop trying to squeeze yourself into the status quo box. It won't happen again. So that's the first tip, understanding and acceptance. The second tip is connect to source or to God. I feel like a broken record here because I'm constantly repeating this in all of my videos, but this is key. This is the key to everything. I am connected to source energy. The more strongly I'm connected to source energy, the less I care about whether I fit in or not, okay? Because the stream of source energy is just constantly coming through me. And when I feel source energy, I know how loved I am. I know how belonging. I know that the sense of belonging is coming already from this stream of creator. I know that I'm supposed to be here and that I'm doing this on purpose, that my soul chose to come here and anchor these new light codes on the planet. I'm not bemoaning my situation anymore. I'm not saying I'm a horrible person because nobody likes me and I don't fit in. I must not be good enough. All of these stories, they change the more that I connect to source energy. How do you connect to source energy? There are a bazillion different ways. You could do it with mantra work. You could do it with meditation. Anytime you quiet your mind, you connect with source energy automatically, because source energy is never really actually disconnected from you. It's always an illusion. And the illusion of disconnection comes from an active mind or an overly active mind. So anytime that you quiet your mind, you come closer into connection with source energy. The more that you feel source energy streaming through you, the less you care about whether you fit in or not. You're just, the more connected you are with source energy, the more you're okay with being a weirdo and standing on your own if you have to. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is cultivate self-love. So a lot of times when we get really lonely that we don't fit in, it's because we perceive that not fitting in as being kind of reflective of our inner worth. So if I don't fit in, I must not be good enough. That's what the ego says. And so the self-love piece is super important, but I put it after the connecting to source energy. I put this tip after on purpose, because when you connect to source energy and you start feeling the love that creator feels for you, then you can't help but love yourself, because self-love is really just a byproduct of connection to God. But you can cultivate self-love in many different ways. I used to cultivate self-love by talking to myself in front of the mirror. I did a lot of mirror work for self-love. It's one of my favorite tools for self-love. So standing in front of a mirror and just talking to myself in a loving way. So you could say things like, I came here on purpose. I'm a light worker. I did this on purpose. My soul chose to come here encoded with light codes to help others come out of old beliefs, old systems, old institutions. I came here to be a disruptor. I came here to bring light codes, and that's such an honored path. That is a path that's so honored, so honored. I am so honored. I am so loved. I am so worthy. You see, you can just keep going with this conversation in front of the mirror. Mirror work was miraculous for me in terms of self-love. But you can do other practices like writing mantras in a journal. There's a ton of different things that you can do to really cultivate that self-love, that veneration that source energy has for you so that you can start feeling it for yourself. Tip number 4 is reclaim your power. Whoa, is this one important? Is this one important? You cannot stand on your own 2 feet and be okay with not fitting in if you don't have power, all right? So if you've let your power sort of dissipate from you, if you've lost it in one way or another, if you've lost power or chi or prana or energy, those are all synonyms. If you've lost energy and you feel disempowered, it's going to be really hard for you to not be bothered by the fact that you don't fit in, because you're constantly going to be looking at the not fitting in as a justification for you not having enough worth or not being good enough, all right? So reclaiming your power is so important. And reclaiming your power just simply means that you stand on your own 2 feet and you know that you are an extension of source energy that is so loved and so unique that you bring things to this planet. Your uniqueness, there is no one else on this planet that has the same uniqueness and characteristics that you have. And that means that only you can fulfill your very unique mission, all right? So bringing your power back from whatever situation, maybe you've been in toxic relationships, maybe you had abuse in the past, whatever has happened to you that's caused you to release or to give up power. Maybe it's toxic negative thoughts, because negative thoughts also cause a release of power. Whatever it is, you're going to find the holes that you have seeping energy out of your energy system, and you're going to heal them, and you're going to call your power back as a divine extension of source energy who has a really powerful mission on this planet. Power is important. Now, how do you recall power? I did a couple of things. One of them is I've used the shamanic practice of soul retrieval. So you may want to look that up. Look up soul retrieval, like a soul retrieval meditation, for instance. What soul retrieval meditations do is they bring back your power by bringing back fragments of your soul or your essential energy that's been fragmented from things that have happened in your past, usually trauma, okay? So you're going to do the soul retrieval meditation and you'll call these parts back to you. The more that you call fragments of your energy that have been scattered around, the more you recall them, the more powerful you feel. I've also used mantras, affirmations, just affirming my power. I've used meditations, all kinds of different things. But the point is, and probably the most important thing I can say to you is intention. So when you stand tall and you intend to call your power back to you, that intention is worth $1 million, okay? So there's another way. Intend to bring your power back. Bring it back. You have the power to call your power back, all right? The 5th tip is open yourself up to the new. This is one of the things that the clients that I work with, and my own life too, I did this too. I was stuck for a while in this whole idea, in the sadness of not fitting in, because feeling like an outsider was lonely for me at times, all right? And it was before I kind of did all of these practical tips that I'm sharing with you. That's how I felt too for many years in my life. And so this 5th tip is important because think about it this way. If I am stuck trying to fit into that box that I'm never going to fit into because I'm a square peg and that's a round hole, so I'm never going to fit into that. But if I spend energy trying to squeeze myself into that box of status quo templates, not only am I not going to be able to do it, but I'm going to be really depressed trying because I'm going to constantly think I'm a failure at this. And another thing is going to happen. If I look at that old template and I feel like I really need to fit in that box, I'm going to be templated with that energy, all right? I'm going to be templated with that energy, and that means that I'm not going to be energetically open to call in my soul tribe or the people that I do fit in with, or the people and places that I do fit in with, all right? Does this make sense? I have to let go of the old in order to welcome the new, right? I have to declutter. I have to be willing to surrender the old to welcome the new. And that's where this tip comes in. So now that you know that you're a light worker and that you've come encoded with these codes and you're not supposed to fit in, now that you know that, you're going to say, okay, I accept this. I let go of the old. I let go of trying to fit in. And I stand here on my 2 feet, open to receiving the new and whatever other connections or places are supposed to come into my life. And what you'll notice is as soon as you give up the need to fit into the old box, as soon as you give it up, you won't be standing on your 2 feet alone for much longer. Because what happens is when you let go of the old, you start bringing in new energy. So you'll start meeting new friends. You'll start meeting acquaintances, people from all walks of life that are also doing the same mission as you. They're also light workers. They also are misfits. They also don't fit in anywhere. And you're going to start to resonate with them, and you're going to start to call them into your reality. You're also going to start calling in the people who jump out of the status quo box because of your influence. Isn't that cool? So there will be people that were in the old box that are going to jump out of it and come join you. So pretty soon you won't be alone at all, but you have to go through this transition of letting go of the old, of accepting that you're not supposed to fit in there, and allowing yourself to open up to your soul family and to the people and places that you are supposed to fit into, all right? So that's the 5th tip, just as important as all the other ones. Now I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below what has been the hardest part for you of not fitting in, about not fitting in. Let me know in the comments below. And if you have a question for my weekly videos, leave it in the comments also with the hashtag AskChristina. Don't forget that hashtag. If you enjoyed this video, click here to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, or click here to head over to my website and take my heart quiz to figure out if your heart is blocked and how you can open it. And if you enjoyed this video, check it out. I curated one here about light workers. You're going to want to click on this video and watch it. I love you, beautiful soul. I am out.